Riley Keough sharing her plans for Graceland as the actress fulfills a promise to her mother, Lisa Marie Presley, to publish her memoir. Eva Pilgrim is here with that story. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning. Riley Keough listened to tapes of her mother, Lisa Marie, that she recorded as she completed that memoir, saying it felt like she was with her, hearing her voice. The future of Graceland. Actress Riley Keough opening up about plans for her famous family's estate. Keough, the sole trustee of her late mother's estate and the owner of Graceland, exclusively telling people she is going to continue what her grandmother and mother did, which is simply to preserve our family home. The actress, who also oversees the sub-trust of her 15-year-old sisters, recently finished writing her mother's memoir titled From Here to the Great Unknown, a promise she made to her mom before her death, saying, what she wanted to do in her memoir, and what I hope I've done in finishing it for her, is to go beneath the magazine headline idea of her and reveal the core of who she was, adding, I want to give voice to my mother in a way that eluded her while she was alive. The memoir, a revelation of Lisa Marie Presley, penning about her father Elvis's love, struggling after his death, her romantic relationships, and motherhood. There wasn't much we didn't discuss, and I know that she knew how much I loved her, just as I know how much she loved me and my brother and sisters. I don't feel like she or I left anything unsaid, which I feel profoundly grateful for. The two women, often fiercely protective over their family name, giving their approval to Baz Luhrmann's biopic, Elvis.
You're looking for trouble? You came to the right place.
It's such an emotional, like Riley said, it just brings up such generational trauma. I mean,
It's
in
so
a good
funny.
way, in a good way.
To have him then make a film about my grandfather is very surreal and such an honor. Last year, Lisa Marie passed away at 54 of complications from bariatric surgery she had years prior. Keough's husband reading words she wrote about her mother at Lisa Marie's funeral.
Thank you for showing me that love is the only thing that matters in this life. I hope I can love my daughter the way you loved me.
Keough views the book as a gift for her family, saying not everyone has a book to read about their grandparents, and so much video and so many pictures as well. So
Keeping the legacy alive. Thank you, Eva.
Keeping the legacy alive. I like that. So, guys, morning, everyone. There's quite a few of you on. I think I'm nearly on time. I think I said 9:30. I do need to just quickly let everyone know we're live. How are we? Do you have your coffees? Get your coffees. We're going to be here for a while. So let me just post that we're live. All around the world, defending Elvis Presley fans want the truth. Hi, Renee. Renee from Hidden Minds, the great YouTube channel, is here. Don't forget, I know that for many of you, it's the middle of the night. It's the early hours of the morning, isn't it? You're all over America, Australia, Canada, UK. We're worldwide, guys. Whether we like it or not, we are worldwide. Right, I think that's everyone. Right, so in case any of you are new and you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm letting everyone know that we've just gone live. Okay, I think that's everyone. There's a couple of people that are probably asleep. Deborah, are you there? I know Deborah sometimes sleeps through it. Let's tell her. I think Colleen, sometimes she just doesn't receive the notifications. If any of you don't get them, tell each other, contact each other, let each other know that we're live. Let's just have a look. So, the massive interview with Oprah and Riley Keough is dawning on us, isn't it? It's very close. That's why I played that clip that a few of you sent me last night. Let's have a look. Who else can we tell? We'll tell Elaine. Let's see. Let's try and find Colleen. So any names that haven't appeared here? Yeah. Hi, Satlin, Rebecca, Jean, Jane, Pat, Lorna, Crystal. Let's see if I can find Colleen. Okay. Now, if any of you want to get on my Facebook, it's Louis Macreades. Louis Macreades. LOUISMACRIDES. But the main chat, the 24-hour chat, which is on our Defending Elvis Presley Facebook page, you just join the page, Defending Elvis Presley, and the chat is there. You just log on to it. That is the main chat where you guys can talk 24/7, exchange everything, exchange details about Elvis, stories about Elvis, your research, pictures, videos, you name it. And I always go back through the 24/7 chat. I find it really interesting, really interesting. And look, if I just now quickly go on to the Defending Elvis chat, let's have a look. Who's on there? Lorraine is on there. We all know Lorraine. Lorraine Roberts from Australia. There's loads of you. Susie, Rebecca. You've all been chatting. Was it Rebecca posted something? Let's have a look at this. See if it's got music. I can't play it. Let's see what it is. Yeah, I can't play it. Right, because I get copyrighted. So you got Tina on there, Nicola on there, Tez. Look, right, my wife just arrived back, so she may come in just quickly. She's out for the day today. Just loads of you love the 24/7 chat, don't you? It's part of who we are now. It's how we get to know each other. So let me just message my wife, let her know I'm live. Can you hear the dogs? Oh, that's funny. So, Rora, I've just started. Right, let's look. I've just started, yeah? I've literally this second just gone live. I thought you weren't coming back, to be honest with you. Yeah, but I waited half an hour. I just thought, oh, she's not coming back. Right, so let's let the dogs out a minute. Okay, all right. Go on then. So I did have a little tidy up. Okay, guys. So, you know what the topic is? We're going to talk about Piers Morgan. We're also going to compare Piers Morgan's interview with Priscilla to some of Priscilla's older interviews from the early 80s. Now, one of the big questions I was asking yesterday when we did part one of this was, why has there been such a massive change? Now, I think Nicola messaged me. I don't think Nicola understood what I meant. She did put it on the chat. Now, this was my big question. If you look at interviews of Priscilla in 1980, yeah, like the Barbara Walter ones. No, the other one I played where she's promoting her hair products. A much softer, calmer Priscilla Presley, yeah? So I wonder if I can get it up just quickly. I wonder if it will come up. So Priscilla, I think, just after Elvis died, yeah, she was much more soft-natured. Not gunning for Elvis. Let me just see if it comes up. Not gunning for Elvis. At first, she was just getting on with business. She was obviously involved in... She had decided, or they had decided, that she will be the spokesperson on behalf of Graceland's. Big decision, yeah? Now, let's just have a look. Let me see if I can find that interview. Let me see if I can find it. I played it you yesterday. Now, I personally think there was a massive change in Priscilla. Right, I'll just show you a couple of seconds of it, yeah?
Those suggestions. Why?
Well, I don't feel at this time in my life why I should I do that? I mean, I don't. I'm still living my life. My daughter's still living her life. He's had so much written about him that I think enough has been said. I hope the people.
Right, now see, my point with that, showing you that just a few seconds clip, is that there was a massive change from that clip, and I'll show you another one. Let's find a different one. Let's find the Barbara Walters one, yeah? Which I have been watching again this morning.
You were 14 years old.
Right, hang on. Let me just quickly show you this, and then I'm going to talk to you, yeah?
You were 14 years old. Elvis was 24, right? Mm-hmm. How did your parents allow a 14-year-old teenager baby to be with this then superstar? It was not easy on my parents. First of all, it was just an innocent meeting. And of course, I was excited and I was reluctant because I didn't think they'd ever let me go. But it was
right.
Just one
Now, I've got a few things I want to say, but just in answer to Nicola's comment, Nicola said, and I really respect Nicola, she's obviously knows what she's doing, knows her stuff, has done loads of research. She thinks I was comparing how Priscilla was once she took over Graceland, when she became the trustee, to how she is today, because there is also a big difference there. There's a big difference. Like now, Priscilla is very guarded, very careful how she answers her questions. She tends to let the interviewer do the damage. And she just sits there and, if anything, she sort of defends Elvis. If you listen to the Piers Morgan interview, some of the questions he throws at her, she actually defends. When he says something like, oh, do you feel that you were groomed or that you were controlled? She actually goes, I wouldn't say that. I don't even know that expression. She now, in 2023-4, you would see she's more trying to defend Elvis. You'll see in a minute when I show the interview. Now, the Priscilla in this interview, I'll play a bit more.
opportunity. That's all they thought it would be. I never expected him to ask me back. They never expected him to ask me back. But Elvis did ask you back, and you saw him again and again. And you would get home very late at night and be exhausted the next day when you had to go to school. Mm-hmm. And your parents let you go again and again. It's when you're in love, it's hard to fight. And I was rebellious.
So my point is, I don't mean the difference between 1979, 80 to 2024, because the difference there is very clear. Yeah. But no, there was a change. This is what I'm putting to you. This is what I was trying to say. So Nicola, if you're watching, this was what I meant. Around 1980, she wasn't out to get Elvis. She wasn't. Other people were writing books. Obviously, we know about the Memphis Mafia Tell-All Elvis book, Elvis, what happened. Something changed between 1980 and that interview. It says here 1985, yeah? The 1985 Barbara Walters interview. Now, this interview, every word of it, the more you go into it, is designed to get at Elvis. It's all designed to belittle Elvis, to make Elvis look bizarre, weird, a druggie, a paedophile, a controller, a groomer, generally just a not very nice person. All of that. You go through that, and she almost says nothing good about him for the whole hour. But you go through the earlier interviews, more like 1980, yeah? She's quite careful how she speaks about Elvis. She's bigging up Elvis. She even gets asked, do you want to write a book? Let's see if I got it here. She's like, oh, no, there's no need to write a book, enough is out there as it is, yeah? Now, that is my question. What changed? To any of you, I'm asking you guys now, what changed from 1980 or 79, 80 to 85? Why did it become, I'm proud to be the new trustee on behalf of Lisa Marie? Why did it change in 85? Now, who would have her boyfriend been in 1985? Do any of you know? Was it Robert Kardashian? I don't know. Do any of you know who Priscilla was dating in 1985? Was it Michael Edwards? I don't know. We can look it up, can't we? Something changed, guys. It could have been someone influencing her. I've had a bad feeling about Presley in my heart. I thought that she was completely alone because of the fact. Let me just see if any of you know. So what year was she seeing Michael Garibaldi? Let's just try and work it out together, guys. I want to know who she was seeing in 1985. Who was Priscilla with? Come on, you guys tell me. Because something happened, guys. We're trying to, we're defending Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. We're trying to work it out. Let's have a look. It says here, in 1985, Priscilla was writing her memoir, Elvis and Me, which detailed a relationship with Elvis Presley and their divorce. Okay. Right. Here we go, guys. It says here that she was seeing Marco Garibaldi from 1984 to 2006. Is this correct? Do we agree it was Marco Garibaldi, Navarone's father? Let's try and put Michael Edwards in. See, we're learning together. Don't forget, I'm a newbie. We're learning together. I'm no expert. I'm learning as I go with you guys, Team Elvis. Because I'm trying to get my head around it. What changed? Because once she went down the road of attacking Elvis, in my opinion, she was cunning and brutal. Right, there we go. Right, okay. Michael Edwards dated Priscilla between 1978 and 1984. After they broke up, he wrote a book titled Priscilla, Elvis and Me, in which he admitted being attracted to Lisa Marie, which we know is disgusting. But okay, guys. So, okay, we've worked out that she was with Marco Garibaldi, Garcia, whatever, Italian, Brazilian, whatever. We know that it was complicated. Didn't he think he was a filmmaker and many other things? Is it Power Rangers? Didn't he direct some Power Rangers? I was trying to read up on him earlier. So, does that mean that the influence of the interview in 1985 with Barbara Walters could have been discussed with Marco? Now, remember, Marco saw himself as a filmmaker. Didn't he write some of the scripts for Dallas? And the way he met Priscilla was he wanted to show her this script. And that's how they started their friendship and then became lovers. Yeah? She could have been seeing two guys. That's what Pat said. Yeah, so Renee says he thinks it was Marco. Now, let me just try something else. So, let me just work it out. So, what I'm trying to get my brain around is there's a change in how she goes from being quite sweet, obviously beautiful to look at, her voice, quite likable. I would say Priscilla, in that early interview, not the Barbara Walters one, in the earlier ones, and I'll try and get it up for you, is quite likable. She's there on behalf of Elvis, representing Elvis, even though we know it's rubbish because we know about how cruel the divorce was. We also know how cruel the unfaithfulness was with Mike Stone. So there is a front. Yeah, we know that the public really have forgiven Priscilla for the divorce stuff and the unfaithfulness because they blame Elvis because of the drugs, because of his unfaithfulness. Yeah, nothing is blamed on Priscilla. Everything is blamed on Elvis. Yeah, this is why we defend Elvis. So I want to know the actual date when Barbara Walters interviewed Priscilla. I want to get the dates right. Barbara Walters interview Priscilla. Let's try and get an actual date. I think it's 85. Right, here we go. Now this is good. We can actually put a timeline to it. So I'm just checking your messages. So, hi, Diana. You got my reminder. Barbara Walters' special was 1985. Barbara Walters' 10th anniversary special featured interviews with Princess Carolina of Monaco, Barbara Streisand, and Priscilla Presley. Do you remember those guys? Do you remember Princess Caroline of Monaco, Barbara Streisand being interviewed, and Priscilla Presley? So this was a big deal, guys. Let me just click on it. Now,
Everything was taken care of. And during the day, you got up and went to high school. Came home in the afternoon. You said sometimes you'd crawl into bed with Elvis at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. He was just getting up and didn't even know you were gone. I worked that out. And then you stayed up most of the night? Yeah. And took pills to go to sleep? I had to, because we got home so early in the morning. He would sleep until 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and then he'd get his sleep. So I'd be lucky if I got another half hour in. And I had to make it work. I had to do it. I mean,
so
the fear of
just little clips, but so I don't know if any of you have gone back to watch that interview, but trust me, all the way through it, it's all about making him look bad. Even there, where she's talking about the fact that Elvis would sleep during the day, pretty normal for a man that is hounded wherever he goes. He literally can't do anything in the day. He can't go anywhere. He had to live his life. Yeah, through the night. Through the night, he would get up and live his life, whatever he wanted to do, and then during the day, he slept. Now, for Elvis and for the most famous man in the world, that's pretty normal, guys. Yeah, he lived in Memphis. Yeah, as soon as he stepped out of those gates, he was mobbed. So they talk about him like he's bizarre for having this upside down. Some people call it a vampire's life, but he literally had no choice, but he is ridiculed for it. And then she talks about the tablets, the sleeping tablets. Don't forget, in those days, completely normal to take sleeping tablets. Completely normal. Nothing unusual about it. Now, Elvis did, guys, Elvis suffered from extreme insomnia. He didn't have normal insomnia. He did not have normal. Now, if you go through the tablet, I was doing this earlier. Let me just quickly, we're going to get to Piers Morgan soon. I just want to give you a feel for things. If you go through the medication that Elvis was taking, yeah? Let me just tell Lorraine we're live. If you go through the medication that Elvis was taking, yeah? Let's have a look. I'll see if I can get it up. I did get this up earlier. Right, here we go. If you go through the medication was taken, actually, if you want to see the medication, go on to Renee's YouTube channel. He's got a great video. Now, Renee, I put to you, can you make, I've never done this to you before. Can you make a video and properly describe the different medication that Elvis took and why? Why? Every medication has a reason. And if you really break it down, it isn't to get stoned. It isn't to get off your head. It isn't like a street drug. Every medication had quite a genuine reason. And I looked this up, guys. I'll show you. Now, I found this. I'm going to do a completely separate video on this. I found this thing on Google that says the 10 different medications that Elvis took. And if you go through them, now this is the mix-up of the public. If you go through the medication, almost everything he took was either for sleeping, for anxiety, or for pain, or to sedate himself. Yeah? Now, I'll give you an example. Codeine. Right, go on. What's up with you? I'll let a dog out. 1 second. I'll be back, guys. I'll warm my coffee up while we're doing this, yeah? Right, come on. Come on then. Get me coffee. We want it hot, guys. We want it hot. So I'm going to go through these tablets, have a little chat, and then we're going to get Piers Morgan on. So my wife's out all day today, so I've got some time. The kids are at school. And you've got my daughter, who's 18, is at work. She works in a nursery with children. Rio is at sixth form doing business studies. So the whole house is going to be empty in about half an hour. My wife's about to leave now. So it does free me up. You know me, I do a bit of running. I walk the dogs. Bits and bobs. I'll have to go shopping. But anyway, let's get back to it. Sorry, guys. I quickly mentioned the medication. Now, this is what I was trying to say to you guys. Do you have your coffees ready? Please get yourself a coffee or a tea. We're definitely going to be here a while, guys. We are defending Elvis together. Right. So codeine is a prescription pain medication. And it's often found in cough medication. Then we've got morphine is a potent, and let's have a look, is an opiate. Let's have a look. It doesn't say what it's for. It just says it's a controlled substance. Then we've got, is it diazepam for anxiety and insomnia? Let's have another one. I'm just trying to find the ones that I've read about. It's only got a few on there. I did take a picture of a few. Hang on, I took a picture. Here we are. So Demerol, I think Demerol is one of the most common ones. Isn't that the ones where you can actually buy the bottles? These Elvis collectors, they buy these bottles. You can see them on Google. Demerol is for moderate and severe pain. Yeah. Where's the next one? Valium. I think it says that Valium is for anxiety. Yeah. And then we've got Dex. Oh, what's that? Not that one. Let's have a look. Diazepam. Diazepam is an anti-anxiety medication. Yeah. Isn't that Valium as well? So, what my point is this, guys, is that we all, the world thinks Elvis, and just turn that light off. The world thinks Elvis was this raving druggie that was trying to get off his face and out of it, a street druggie. But if you look at, I would say 80% of the stuff that Elvis was taking every day, it was for anxiety. He must have had extreme anxiety. It was for trying to get to sleep. He literally couldn't sleep. Elvis could not sleep. I would say probably Elvis trying to fall asleep did more damage than anything else he did. And then you've obviously got Elvis was in serious pain. Yeah. So he's got quite strong painkillers. Is that codeine and other things? Then yes, he did take some uppers. And yes, he did take some sedatives. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is that, there we are, Linda says it. I'm prescribed diazepam for muscle relaxer. So what I'm trying to say, guys, this man was seriously ill with very serious constipation and insomnia. And we know about the glaucoma, so very serious pain in his eyes. So when they're calling him a druggie, it's just so unfair. It's just so that's why this morning I just thought I'm going to quickly look up these different medications. I'm going to read out that medical report that goes through all these different prescribed medications he was taking, but I'm not doing that today because that's not our subject. Hi Teresa, hi Dave, hi Sue. Now come on, a lot of us, not me, I've come off medication since I went on the carnivore diet, the keto diet. I'm now completely off medication, but many of us over 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, we're on medication. Some of us are type 2 diabetes, aren't we? Yeah. So doesn't mean that we're drug addicts. Anyway, I did want to, before I go on to the topic, I did want to say something. We had someone jump in yesterday saying, oh, why are you so hateful to Priscilla? Is this a Priscilla hater channel? Even she said to me, Louis, you're one of the most hateful people I've seen. Yeah, me. She said that about me. Louis, you're one of the most hateful people I've seen. Now, thank you so much, guys. You lot jumped in and defended me, defending Louis. I like that. Now, I'll tell you now, guys. That's what my wife's just going. It's all right. There's no way that I'm hateful. I don't have hate in me. You are for you. Now, I can't remember the name of the person that joined us. Oh, it was Joy. Yeah. Now, how can I say it? I was a little bit insulted by it because I've always, on many of my videos, I always say, this ain't about hating on Priscilla. This isn't like, let's all hate Priscilla. Come on, woo. This isn't a hate Priscilla channel. It's always been about the truth and about defending Elvis. Always. It's always been about, let's get the facts. Let's have a little look at them together. Because I'm no expert. Because I'm no expert, I always bring you guys in. I start going on to the YouTube and Google. I read a few bits here and there. It's always been, how can we defend Elvis without insulting people? Now, it's difficult, mind, because there's quite a few people that have wronged Elvis, that have said things about Elvis that they shouldn't have said, including the Memphis Mafia, as well as Priscilla. So I'm always like, how do we... Now, this person jumped into the channel and said, well, every time I go on your channel, all you're doing is hating on Priscilla. Yeah? Now, remember, this was yesterday. Now, yesterday, you look at the videos I did, yeah? We did Colonel Tom Parker. We went into that in quite detail. We did Dr. Nick. We went into that in quite detail. Yeah, Dr. Nick, Elvis's doctor. The one before that, we did a disco. The disco was, we had a brilliant time doing the disco, yeah? So she said it at the wrong time, guys. She said it at the wrong time. Let me just check. Now, don't get me wrong. We have done a lot of Priscilla videos, a lot. The majority of our videos are defending Elvis against Priscilla's wrongdoing, unfair comments, unfair portrayal. I'm just checking. Now, one of the videos we did was a Ginger Alden video, which was only yesterday. Let's have a look. I'm just seeing what else we did. We've done a Riley Oprah video. You know, we were discussing the up-and-coming massive worldwide phenomenon interview between Oprah and Riley that's coming on the 8th of October. I'm just seeing what other subjects we did. We've done a few old rare Elvis clips. We've done Finley and Harper and Riley. So yes, we've done a lot of Priscilla stuff, but we've also done a lot of, like we did a Mike Stone one, trying to stick up for his wife, Frances. I'm just going through now, guys. So we don't just make Priscilla videos. We've got a little Shauna one there. We've got a little Hidden Minds one there. I'm just going, Todd Slaughter. Just, come on, guys. We try and cover the topics. Now, I could just do lots of little documentaries, couldn't I? I could just cover Elvis's life. I could start off with his childhood life in Tupelo, Old Satilla Road, in his shotgun house. Talk about his losing his twin dying stillborn, couldn't I? And then I could talk about Sun Records, Memphis studio, yeah. Then we could talk about his move to Memphis, Beale Street. And then we could talk about his quick rise to fame, massive hits around the world, worldwide phenomenon, making movies, Love Me Tender. Then we could jump forward and we could bring up all the army stuff, meeting Priscilla. We could then go back to the movie years, through the 60s, then the 68 comeback, then the Vegas. That was another comeback. And then we could bring things right up to date to his unfortunate death. We could do that. We could spend all day here covering his history, going through all the high points. We could go through his movies. We could go through his songs. All of them, thousands of them. Amazing. How beautiful he is, how amazing he is, his gospel stuff. But how does that defend Elvis? We are called defending Elvis Presley. And the only way we're going to defend him is if we break down the lies that have been said about him for the last 50 years. Longer, I would say over 60 years of lies. 65 years of lies, I think. Because I think Elvis has been badly portrayed since 1958. Yeah? Now, we could keep bringing up the history and do some beautiful footage showing Elvis's life, couldn't we? One of the most common things you guys say is, why can't you, like Lucette does it from Poussin, Lucette. Hi, Lucette. Why can't you just talk about his beautiful music, his beautiful talent, his lovely movies, how much of a kind man he was, how much good he did for the world. We could do that all day. But that has been repeated again and again and again and again and again, a million times in books, biographies, documentaries, and millions of different versions of Elvis's life have been portrayed again and again and again all over every channel, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We've heard it a million times. We're proud to see it, hear it, listen to it, watch it, whatever. But that's not why we're here. We are defending Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. We're not here to keep retelling the same story over and over again. So Joy has got it wrong. Joy, who was calling us haters, saying we are a Priscilla hate channel. You got it wrong, Joy. We're here to defend Elvis. And to defend Elvis, we're going to say the stuff that has been said about him that is wrong. We're going to bring it up and we are going to defend him. And if you're going to call us haters, then call us haters. But there is no hate in me. I don't hate Priscilla. I actually want to forgive her. I want to call her to the table. I invite her to come together with us, and she can have her say. We'll ask our questions. Hopefully one day she may see the wrong in the way that she portrayed Elvis going way back to the 1980s. Yeah. And then who knows? We may get a breakthrough, and we will do it in a kind way. We're not going to attack her, call her names, take the mick out of her, take in English, take the piss out of her. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go, why? Why? This man that was so kind to you, treated you so well, gave you everything you could dream of. Why so cruel to him with the unfaithfulness and with the money grabbing and horrific divorce settlement that literally made him go bankrupt, more or less. And not only did she ran off with the karate champion, which was the most humiliating thing she could have ever done to Elvis, because it was such a public humiliation. It went round the world. Elvis had his daughter taken away from him, and this poor man had to watch on TV, in all the newspapers and tabloids and magazines, this Priscilla Presley kissing Mike Stone in public whilst he's with his daughter. Could you imagine how cruel that is? She's out and about in the restaurants, in the gym, in the not the gym, the fairgrounds, in the supermarkets. They're walking around together, hand in hand. There's a different dad holding Lisa Marie's hand, walking down past going shopping together in public. They've got the paparazzi all taking pictures of them together. Elvis has to witness this. Yeah, she even kisses him in public. Elvis has to witness all of this. It's just so cruel and so unfair. And then we see it all again in the divorce settlement, where Elvis was super generous. He literally would give her whatever she wanted. She could have whatever she wanted. Didn't matter. House, car, money, you name it, she could have it. But no, she has to go for the jugular, get a lien placed on Graceland's and hammer him for millions, where he almost goes bankrupt, where he has to sell his recording rights. She's even demanding a percentage of his profits. It's copyrights, yeah, royalties, whatever you want to call it. Even though she's already had a fortune out of him, this was a second divorce settlement. She'd already had the first divorce settlement, and she went back and demanded a second divorce settlement, even though in the first divorce settlement, she promised that she was never going to go back again for more money, because he had been so generous on the first divorce settlement. But the second one, I don't know who advised her. Was it Robert Kardashian? But someone said to her, go back and get your pound of flesh. Bearing in mind, they only had one child together. They were only married, really, for 3 years max. 3 years maximum, that marriage was. Yeah? But she wanted everything. She wanted everything. So, yeah, we're going to defend Elvis, guys. We're not being hateful. We're going to defend Elvis because he deserves it, because the way he's been treated is disgusting. Right, let's start playing the Piers Morgan interview, and then we're going to break it down, yeah? So, Joy, if you're watching, there's no hate here. Right, let's have a look. Here we go. Now, remember, we started doing this yesterday, yeah? So, we're going to carry on from that.
Okay.
Now, I just want a quick introduction. We've already watched the first 3 or 4 minutes. Now, my beef with Piers Morgan is that I don't understand why he treated her in this interview like they were still married when Elvis died, like she never did anything wrong to Elvis. She did no mention of unfaithfulness, no mention of the cruel divorce, no mention of the fact that she really indirectly and slyly, using interviewers, has been bad-mouthing Elvis for, I think, for over 40 years. No mention of it. He talks to her, even compares her to royalty. No mention of the fact that she'd stopped using the name Presley. No mention of the fact that she's had loads of other lovers, one of them for 22 years, who she had a son with, Navarone, another one, Michael Edwards, for over 7 years. No mention. He talks to her as if she was still married to Elvis when he died, and that she's had no other lovers. All right, take care. Love you. Good luck with it. So, do you get what I'm trying to say to you guys? There is like, I don't understand. Did Piers Morgan not do his research? Was it a pre-agreed set of questions? Did Piers Morgan even understand how she had treated Elvis? did Piers Morgan ever watch these dozens of interviews that were quite cruel to Elvis, especially the Barbara Walters one? He even says to her, oh, you've never said a bad word about Elvis. Guys, come on. What happened to Piers Morgan? Was he smitten with her? Because he's known her for years, hasn't he? It doesn't make sense. Piers Morgan, known as a very, hard-hitting interviewer, treated her as if she was still his wife. Yeah? Even the subject of Riley, hardly touched on. Riley and the twins. Lisa Marie, hardly touched on, really. A little bit at the beginning. So we're going to start watching it. And I say this to Piers Morgan. What happened? What happened? Why so soft? Why did you brown nose her through the whole interview? Why? You literally may as well have bowed down to her. You literally were bowing down to Priscilla. I don't get it. Why couldn't you have asked some proper questions? Why? The whole thing was about making Priscilla look good. The whole thing, and promoting Priscilla as the person that has maintained Elvis's legacy for 47 years since he died, yeah? Which is not true, yeah? You fully take on board that she saved Graceland. It was her idea to open Graceland. This is not true. This is not true, in my opinion. Everything we say on this live show is for entertainment purposes and our opinions. So I could go on and on, couldn't I? Something ain't right. Now, remember, part of this live stream is that we are trying to understand why Priscilla in the late 70s, in her interviews, was quite kind and friendly. But then in 85, when she's with Marco Garibaldi, there's a massive change. Massive change. She's hard hitting and she's saying the things that are quite cruel to Elvis. She's exposing very private personal details that have damaged Elvis's image and reputation. So what changed? This is what I say to Nicola if you watch later. Not what changed from 79 to 2023, 24. What changed from 1979 to 1985? Because there's a big difference. Because she goes on, after 1985, she goes on to do quite a few quite cruel interviews that harm Elvis's image and reputation. Whilst I'm playing it, I'm going to warm my coffee up and I'm going to check your comments.
Knowing how people are just going to, not do anything and just so very nice and get up and leave. So it was a surprise to both of us how well it was received.
Is it an accurate depiction, do you think, not just of you, but of your relationship with Elvis?
I think so. I think she did she did some homework. She and I, we talked about it. And, living with Elvis Presley, people think, oh, how wonderful, that's great, it's Elvis Presley. But I went through the ups and downs with him, a very crucial part of his life. His ups and downs, his struggles, his fears. So, when you're living with someone so famous, and you've been through it with them, it's that part of privacy that it's hard to give up. It's hard to share. It's hard to, I don't want to give out too much because I want some of that myself.
Right.
That's just for me.
And actually, one of the reasons it's reputed that Elvis loved you so much was that from the very first moments that you were together, even though you were very young and you were at school, and we'll come to that, you never spoke about him to people.
Right.
You absolutely respected and protected his privacy, even though at the time he was one of the biggest stars in the world. And that really endeared you to him, the fact that you safeguarded the privacy.
I did. When I first started dating him, or let's say, he would call to my parents to see if I could come over just on the weekends, maybe Friday, maybe a Saturday. That whole, part of my life was getting to know him, but the question was, why me? Why is he drawn to me? Why is he asking my mother and father if it's okay if, I would go visit? And when I put all the pieces together, it's because I was the listener. I was the one that he trusted more, I think, than anyone. And I honored that, and I would never give that up. I never told kids at school that I was seeing him. No one even knew, because I valued that trust. And why? And I would ask the question, why me? Why does he trust me? I was the listener. He would tell me about how upset he was with his father, who actually, he lost his mother a year before. He went to the army, and then his father met this woman who had 3 children. And he couldn't believe his father. I couldn't believe, yes, that his father would so soon start dating and falling in love. And then he would pour his heart out to me, get emotional about it, because he was so close to his mother. So the trust factor meant a lot to him, a lot. And to this day, there are things I hold to my heart, and I won't give up.
You never bad-mouth Elvis.
Right, okay. So, I mean, to me, she's winging it. She's winging it. She's actually a bit unsure what to say. He asked a question. She doesn't, he asked a question. She doesn't answer the question. She just starts saying, she mentions Vernon. He was unhappy with Vernon. She talks about why me? Why did he pick me? That kind of stuff. He's not answering the questions. Now, this bit coming up now, he will say, you have never bad-mouthed Elvis. Now, remember, we don't even need proof. We just get the interviews up from the 80s. And let me see if I can, before I play that bit. Now, remember, I'm not being hateful to Priscilla here. I'm trying to show you guys something ain't right. Right, I'll get the interview up.
Just admit you were wrong.
Right, hang on. Let's just go. Look, I'm winging it a bit myself now. So let's just get a bit up. So we'll go Priscilla interview, 1980s. We're going to do this together as we go along. And right, here we go. Right. So this bit here. Let me just move this a minute. This is an old interview. This is right. Let's have a look.
A lot of expectation, and I think what hurts mostly remembers his ex-wife. It hurts. I knew it would happen. I could see it coming. The day that he died, it was just the beginning, and it's been a lot of expectation. And I think what hurts mostly is the people that were very close. And again, it's human nature, and you try to justify it, but it still hurts.
Right. Okay. I want to play it. It's quite a short interview, though. I want to play a bit of it. Now, this is my point, guys. This is 1978. Right. Now, remember what I'm trying to show you guys. I'm not just trying to expose how ridiculous Piers Morgan's interview was. I'm also trying to show you that there was a change from that's 1978, where she is almost defending Elvis. She's defending Elvis in this. She's not out to get Elvis. She's not out to turn public opinion against Elvis. She's not trying to portray herself as a victim in this. This is just Priscilla, in 1978. So she's with Mike Stone, yeah? She's trying to do the right thing. Now, remember, at this point, there's no hurtful, harmful, nasty divorce. the first divorce settlement was pretty fair. Now, actually, no, that's not true. No, actually, no. Let me reword that. That's wrong. 1978. No, 1978. Vernon's still alive, and she's had this horrible second divorce settlement, the lien, the charge, the deed of trust on Graceland's. So I just want to get my facts right. So she's got pockets full of money. Now, Elvis couldn't afford to pay her, so she had it some in installments. Vernon's still alive, so I would say she's joint. No, actually, no. Vernon is still the owner, yes? Vernon, now, tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Vernon hasn't died, so he still owns everything. Him, Aunt Delta, Minnie May, yeah? So it's only once Vernon dies that she gets almighty power. So, okay, so at this point, we're just working it out as we go. At this point, she doesn't have all the power. Now, let's listen.
Could you tell me what you were thinking not long ago that day in Vegas when you went for the unveiling of Elvis's statue? It was a touching moment. It was sitting on stage, knowing what we were doing there. It didn't seem real. Looking out at the audience, seeing all the people there, and having them play his music. I can't even put it in words. It wasn't right. It was beautiful that they were presenting this statue, but it didn't feel right. Elvis wasn't there. Do you get any special feelings if you turn on your car radio or turn on your house radio and hear Elvis's music? Oh, absolutely. Because I know what was going on during all the songs that were being recorded at the time. What was said, what the feeling was toward the song, if he should do the song. So the memory of what was happening during that time comes up. It's difficult. It's difficult listening to the records. It's difficult. Your mind starts to wonder. It starts to go back, and again, you try to think that's not Elvis, but you can't escape it. I'm curious to know, did Elvis at any time sit and discuss with you his performances? Sure. Oh yeah. There was some he loved, some he hated, some he didn't want to do, some he had fun with, but Elvis was a perfectionist. If a performance didn't go like he wanted it, he'd be upset for days over it. Could he accept criticism? Not really, no. If it came from him, yes. I think he always knew what he did. Did all of you hide, let's say, reviews? Yes. You hid reviews from him, absolutely.
Right. Okay, I've seen that part. So the point is, at that point, it's just nothing serious is being said. Nothing horrible is being said about Elvis. It is more like she was just about to say that, we didn't want to hurt his feelings, so we would not show him the reviews. She's saying that, when they unveiled the statue and the music was being played and how it made her feel, and that things just didn't seem right because she missed him, and the fact that he had died just was unbelievable. Pretty just normal, touching. Now we have to stick ourselves in her brain, and that is, she knows, the public don't really know, that the second divorce was very bitter and nasty. She knows. Now there's no way she's going to mention it to what's the name of that woman? Please, someone tell me her name, guys. Let's have a look. I should know, really. Come on. What's her name, guys? You know. Oh, it's not coming up. But the point is, it's a very different Priscilla. Now, we know she's seeing Mike Stone, Rona Barrett. Thank you, Jojo. A very timid, sweet, beautiful Priscilla Presley, being very careful. We know that she was with Mike Stone for 4 years, yeah, maybe a little bit longer. One of those, she was secretly seeing Mike Stone behind Elvis's back. Now, let's just try and work out the years. Let's try and work out the years, guys. So 1978, she ran off with Mike Stone in 72, tail end of 1971. So let's work it out. 73, 74. Oh no, she's with someone else. So who was she seeing in 1978? Was it? Let's try and do this, guys. Let's try. I want to do the timeline right. We'll come back to the Piers Morgan in a minute because we've got plenty of time. Now, so I'll just go on to TikTok and just put in Priscilla's boyfriends. Right, let's have a look. There's quite a few things saying. Now we're learning together. Remember that, guys. Let's have a look. Hi guys, in this.
Priscilla leaked text message.
Did you know that Priscilla Presley dated Robert Cottishane? But it only happened years after Priscilla divorced Elvis.
And Priscilla.
Did you know that Priscilla Presley dated Robert Cottishane? But it's only happened years after Priscilla divorced Elvis and before Robert was with Chris. They dated in 1975. But somehow he'd chosen to marry Chris instead and start a family together. And the rest is history.
Okay, well, we know she was with him.
Priscilla Presley dated Robert Cottishane.
We know she was with him in 1975. Let's have a look. Let's try and get the. I want to know who she was seeing in 1978. There's loads and loads of stuff saying. We're going to do this, guys. We're going to be detectives together. Let's just get this bit facing me. The lights, it's very bright, glary today, isn't it? I'm not really sure why. It's making me look, I don't know. Right, let's have a look. Let's do it. Let's find it. Okay, so Priscilla Presley, boyfriends. Let's have a look. Let's see if we get a list. So, so she broke up with Mike Stone in 1975, and then started seeing Terry O'Neill. We want the years. We want the years. Dating history. Are we ready, guys? So I'm just checking your comments. Right. Okay, I think I found one. Guys. We're going to do this. Do you have lots of time? Get yourself a cup of tea because we're going to be here a while. We've already been on an hour and I haven't even started yet. Do you have time, guys? Right. Let's see if we can find the boyfriends. It's quite a good little write-up, this, actually. Let's have a look. Come on, we want the boyfriends. We want the boyfriends. Right, we're getting there. Michael Edwards. Okay, so Michael Edwards started in 1978. So I want to know who was before Michael Edwards. So we got Naked Gun. Robert Kardashian. She was seeing him between 1975 and 1976. Who was she seeing in 1976, 1977? That's who I'm interested in. Because that interview could have been done just before Michael Edwards. It doesn't say on this one. Richard Gere was later on, 1980. So 1983 was Richard Gere. Let me just open the door for the dogs. So there's a good chance. Go on then. So there's a good chance, guys, that it was Michael Edwards at the time of that interview. Do any of you know who she was seeing in 1977? I'd like to know that. 76, 77. Yeah, I don't think she really did date John Travolta. I think they were friends. Did they date? I know that Lisa Marie had a crush on him, on John Travolta, which is how she got introduced to Scientology. Well, I read that somewhere. But I'm going to find a different one. Just see if it says 1977. Come on, guys. Do any of us want to guess who she was seeing in 1977? Let's have a look. Let me just check this. So we've got karate instructor Mike Stone, 72 to 75. Then we've got photographer Terry Neal, 75. Aha, here's one. Right. Robert Kardashian, 75, 76. I think I just said that. Now is there a 77? No, then it jumps to Michael Edwards, 1978. So yeah, there's a chance she was single for a year. Does that sound right to you guys? Okay, all right. So we're going to say there's a chance that during that interview that I just played, that let me just get it up again. There's a chance that during that interview that we just played, I'll show you that she could have either been single or she's just met or about to meet Michael Edwards. Yeah? Let's play the last little bit of it. It's only a couple of minutes. And then we're going to go back to the...
Absolutely. Did he not ask any of you at any time? Did anybody say anything about me? What would you say to him? They were great. Wonderful reviews. They were they were just great. Or well, they weren't the best, but hey, it's okay. Why did Elvis surround himself with what we affectionately term the Memphis Mafia? The boys who constantly, I believe, lived with you and him what appeared to be morning, noon, and night. He was comfortable. He was comfortable. He was secure. He knew everyone. They knew him. He was able to do what he wanted, when he wanted. Everyone understood. He could throw his temper tantrums. No one would condemn him. He was at ease. He was around people that were with him for a long period of time. Where most people have friends and may see them throughout a lifetime, here and there. Elvis liked his friends with him because then you can share and you can do and be who you want. He loved that. He loved having his family and friends around him. Priscilla, was he not at ease meeting new people? No, he wasn't. He wasn't comfortable having someone that he didn't know very well come in. If you had a problem, could you sit with Elvis? Would he take the time to listen to what was aching you? And could he comfort you? I very rarely went to him with any problems. It's a very strange relationship. It was a love, but I never wanted to upset him because he took it so hard. If I were to come to him with a problem, it would hurt him deeply. So I worked it out myself. That must have been very tough on you. It was tough. But you make it, and you're able to weigh what you want most. Elvis's happiness meant a lot to me. Did Elvis change when Lisa was born? The father image came out in him like I can't tell you. I mean, I just never thought that when you see him on stage and you see him with a baby and through her life, how he handled it was beautiful. If there's just one thing that you would like Lisa to remember most about Elvis? What would that be? Oh, gee, so many things. I think his humbleness toward people.
Oh my God. I tell you what, that Priscilla, I have all day for. She's talking sweetly about Elvis and Lisa Marie. She doesn't say anything bad about Elvis. Nothing. Just she misses him. It's touching when they revealed the statue and was playing his music. She couldn't believe he was gone. And she just, the whole picture in 1978, that interview, do you understand, guys, what I'm trying to say to you? Something changed. What changed between 1978? I ask you again, Nicola, if you're watching later. What changed from 1978 to 1985? Now let's play a bit of 1985 and then we'll go back to Piers Morgan. I asked you guys, what changed? Why did she go from being so sweet about Elvis, so likable? She's very likable in that interview. No trashing, no bashing of Elvis, no grooming, bringing up controlling, grooming, none of that. No bringing up that she was in a prison, that she had lost herself, that she was miserable. No bringing up that his temper, his drug taking, the fact that he'd given her sleeping tablets. None of this is brought up. But then suddenly in 1985, there's a massive change. Guys, I'm asking you, what changed? Please tell me. This is part of what we're trying to find out here, defending Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. Something happened. Was it meeting Michael Edwards? Was it Michael Edwards' influence on her that was saying to her, look, you need to change the storyline. You need to come across as the victim. What made her suddenly go, right, that's it. I'm going to be a victim. I'm going to show the world that I was wronged by Elvis. I was took advantage of by Elvis because I was too young. I didn't know what I was doing. Elvis had a bad temper. Elvis took drugs. Elvis was always with the Memphis Mafia. Elvis would leave me alone for months on end. Yeah? Something changed. Something. Yeah? Now, when we get to this book, yeah? Could it be that she was writing this book? Could it be that eventually, a few years later, she starts writing this book and she feels that's her opportunity to get the public to see her as a victim? Could it be that once Vernon Presley died, yeah, she's given almighty power, the boss of Gracelands, the Roman emperor of Gracelands? Could it be that the power went to her head, that she knew she could rewrite history because this book was accepted by the public and became a massive bestseller, written 7 years after Elvis died by a bitter, angry, upset, hurt ex-wife, not a widow, not a Presley. Elvis had no involvement in this book. Every word in this book could be not true, in our opinion, for entertainment purposes. A new agenda. I'm going to make the public see me as a victim. I'm going to make Elvis look bad. I'm going to expose Elvis's wrongdoing and create this new alter image. Not Elvis, the lovely, kind man that was that loved the public, loved his fans, that was kind to everyone, kind to the Memphis Mafia, his own family, kind to strangers. Amazing at charity. Wasn't he giving away at least 50 charities a year? Beautiful Christian man with a humble upbringing, a church upbringing. The whole world loves Elvis. They still love him even though he's died. I'm going to change all that. I'm going to expose Elvis for his true colors and show him for the man that I think he was. I'm going to tell the world what Elvis was like from my point of view. Yeah? Yeah? Paedophile, groomer, controller, abuser, even rapists, womanizer, adulterer. I could go on and on and on. There's so many different things. Drug addicts. There's so many things how he was portrayed unfairly in this book. And this book isn't history. This is a rewriting of history from Priscilla's point of view. Elvis had no say in this book. Elvis cannot defend himself. When this book came out, and it sold well over 3 million copies, Elvis couldn't jump up and say, that ain't true, that ain't true, that ain't true, that's not fair, that's not fair. No. And then the interviewers for the next 50 years, more or less, well, 40 years, yeah, treated this book as truth. And it's not. Nothing in this book can be proved. Nothing, not one word. Now let's show the change. We're going to show the change in Priscilla. So we jump forward to the Barbara Walters interview. I think there's other interviews where she badmouths him. But let's go to the Barbara Walters interview. Yeah? And then we're going to play the Piers Morgan, parts of the Piers Morgan interview. We're going to get a feel. So do you guys get where I'm coming from, though? Let's have a look. Let me just check your comments. Bye, Linda. You take care. Now, there's 35 of you watching. Please subscribe. Please like. Now, if you like what I'm doing, please become a member. Right, let's have a look. Okay.
So vulnerable. He was gentle. He was praying until he married her. Keep her a virgin. Doing well.
Right, okay.
Take for his wife. He was going to keep her that way until he married her. So I think in his own mind, he thought, well, from the service, you stayed in Germany when you were looking back. Take off and do it, or she'll catch a plane. I was in love. And they were caught between, well, if we don't let her go, she'll sneak off and do it, or she'll catch a plane and go. My mother would cry and go, I don't know what to do. And I feel bad because I did go through a lot. Looking back, do you think your parents should have let you go to Memphis? Yes. Why? Why? Because, who knows? I maybe wouldn't have been married and had the child I have. I don't think they made a mistake. Did Elvis mention marriage when you first moved to Memphis? He was reluctant in mentioning marriage. Very little. When Elvis wanted entertainment, he would rent a whole movie theater or rent a playground or fly across the country for a peanut butter sandwich. What was this like for you as a kid? It was a slow involvement. He didn't do it all at once. Mm-hmm. Things just started happening. And then it was a part of my life. If you want something, you get a plane to go get it. If you want to do something, you make arrangements and you call across the country and it just happens. I didn't do it myself, but you had people taking care of everything for you. I did nothing. Everything was taken care of. And during the day, you got up and went to high school. Came home in the afternoon. You said sometimes you'd crawl into bed with Elvis at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and he was just getting up and didn't even know you were gone. Mm-hmm. I worked that out. And then you stayed up most of the night? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And took pills to go to sleep? I had to, because we got home so early in the morning. He would sleep until 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and then he'd get his sleep. So I'd be lucky if I got another half hour in. And I had to make it work. I had to do it. I mean, with a fear of a young girl fearing that if I didn't do it, maybe someone would take my place. I would always have that fear, well, if I don't do this, someone's going to do it, and I wanted to be the one. At one point, you said, in the early stages of your living there, that he gave you 2 pills. Placido, was it called? Yes. And you almost died. And he didn't call a doctor. Well, he forgot, I think, the fact that I had never taken pills, and he had given me 2, because he was used to taking 2. It didn't bother him. And he gave them to me. And I was knocked out for about 2 days. Once, Elvis took you to a morgue. Yes, he did. Why? Why that fascination with dead bodies? I don't know what the fascination was. This is not the first time that he had done this. I don't know if it was for the shock value. to see how people would react, or just for his own thrill of it. You wrote, there were times when you and Elvis spent days in the bedroom. Freezing bedroom, he liked it very cold. The windows with blackout drapes, so no sunlight entered, day after day. It went into weeks. Yes, we stayed like that. We had our food delivered by the door. And it was cold. I mean, he did like it cold, and it was dark. And it could get real lonely. And that's how he liked it at times. Like a cocoon. Almost like a womb, I guess. Just enclosed. It was his way of getting away. And then every night to go to sleep, he'd take some pills. He'd have to. I mean, he would, he had a fear of insomnia, first of all. And when he woke up, he had a horrible fear he could never get back to sleep again. And it was real. So every night he took the pills, and he gave them to you too? Yes. And they became normal? Mm-hmm. So this is this bizarre life of being able to have or buy anything you want. Loneliness. Days of being alone with him in darkened rooms. Pills. And you loved him. Mm-hmm. Was he good to you? Very. Was he also bad to you? When you say bad to me, I don't think it wasn't bad to me in a way that, intentional bad. Elvis went through an awful lot, and I think the communication that we had was very difficult and different. Elvis's way of dealing with problems were not confronting the problems, and if there was a problem, he would buy, or to make it all right and go right for you, make it better, he'd buy you a gift. He would leave you. He would go off to make pictures. He would go off to Las Vegas, and you heard about other women. Mm-hmm. How'd you feel? What'd you do about it? I felt horrible. It was almost a part of, it was the fear that I had too. I didn't want him to leave my sight. I wanted to be with him, because if I left him again, that fear always came in. I'm going to lose him. You wrote in your book that one of your greatest worries was about his co-star, Anne Margaret. Yes, that's true. I knew there was an affair. And did you confront him? If I confronted him, he'd deny it. Or get mad? Well, that's usually what happens when you're caught. So you lived with that? Yes. You wrote, Elvis controlled your looks, your clothes, your hair, your makeup. He controlled you totally. Is that accurate? Mm-hmm. I was definitely under a spell of what I thought was love. And I had to take responsibility for that too. But you were 16, 17 years old. But what did I know? I knew nothing else. I had nothing else. I had no experience, not even in life, but with other people. And even though he wanted you virginal and pure, he dressed you sequins, shiny material, low cut, slit up the side. Why? I think maybe it was his way of showing sophistication. Maybe making me appear older. I don't know. There's some kind of an appeal that men like with a trashy kind of look. Maybe that's what turned him on. Mm-hmm. 6 years you lived there before he decided to marry you. Mm-hmm. In those 6 years,
right,
sleeping with him every night.
Okay. The next thing she says is that she slept with him every night for 6 years and they never had sex. This is just more of the bullshit, yeah? So can you see how that interview descends? It descends. It gets worse and worse and worse. They talk about everything. In the last 2 minutes of that, I don't have to go through it all. You've just listened to it. It's very clear. The last few minutes of what we've just watched, it's very clear. It's about making her look like the victim, like what she's gone through. Oh my God, poor me. Oh, how horrible was he? How bizarre is he? How selfish he is. What he put her through, how he controlled her, groomed her, told her how to dress, do her hair, makeup. And just generally, Elvis was not nice. Yeah? That's not nice. Cruel, even. Now, what changed from that 1979 interview? Yeah? What changed, guys? What was the thing that then by the time she gets to 1978, which is around when she starts seeing Michael Edwards, as we've worked out, why she's hell-bent on making him look bad and making her look like the victim? How is that, guys? I really want to know. But then when we jump forward now to 2023 or 4, it could have, someone told me it may have been November 2023 when Piers Morgan did his interview. She's calmed down. She's calmed down. Now, if you look at Priscilla's interviews in the 90s, she doesn't really want to talk about Elvis. She's very defensive. She's like, I'm not here to talk about Elvis. I'm not here to talk about my private life. I'm with Marco now, Marco Garibaldi. I've got a son, Navarro, and it's not fair to talk about them, talk about Elvis and my life with Elvis, my marriage with Elvis, because I've moved on. Yeah. But then after, when she splits up from Marco Garibaldi, then she goes back on the path of, oh, I'm here to portray Elvis's legacy, to protect Elvis's legacy, to preserve his legacy, to promote his memory, his reputation around the world. She takes on that role again. She puts the crown back on. Yeah. And really, that's how we now know Priscilla, don't we? That every interview she does is about promotion of Elvis, but also constantly reminding us of Elvis's wrongdoing. Promotion of anything Elvis, could be concerts, books, biographies, documentaries. You've got The Searcher, which we saw the other day. I think it was on Disney, you know, the very long documentary. So she's got this, she took on this role of, I'm here to promote Elvis, but at the same time, she harms his image and reputation, doesn't she? So the new Priscilla, you know, recently has calmed down and is trying to speak well of Elvis and almost disagreeing. When Piers Morgan asks her questions, she even disagrees with him. Now, let's watch a bit of it. Let's go back to the Piers Morgan interview. And this is why we're here now, to go through it. Yeah. Now, I keep saying to you guys, I do not understand why Piers Morgan was so soft on Priscilla. I don't know why. I can't work it out. Cannot. Let me just set the camera up so that there's a bit of space for my phone. So you get where I'm coming from, yeah, guys? Now, I repeat, there is no hate here. Anyone joins us, I'm not anti-Priscilla. I'm not creating hate for Priscilla. We're not a Priscilla hate channel. I want to defend Elvis. And unfortunately, Priscilla's a big part of it. But also the Memphis Mafia, Dr. Nick, Colonel Tom Parker, the usual stuff, yeah? Okay. Now, we defend Elvis together with Team Elvis.
A lot. And to this day, you know, there are things I hold to my heart and I won't give up.
You never bad-mouth Elvis. I've noticed that.
Hang on.
Your entire life.
Did you hear that? Piers Morgan, the world-renowned interviewer who has done thousands of interviews and he's quite hard-hitting, has just said, you never badmouth Elvis. I'll rewind that bit. Piers Morgan, world famous, hard-hitting interviewer. You've never badmouthed Elvis. Has that man done any research for this interview? Or was he handed a bunch of questions to ask and put no effort into looking into the truth of what went on whilst she was married to Elvis, the cruel divorce, the cruel unfaithfulness, the way that she's acted after Elvis died, the friendship, no, the relationship she had with her own daughter, Lisa Marie, and all the things that went wrong there, and the way that she's had this almost potential lawsuit when she tried to go against Riley Keough's wishes. Lisa Marie's wishes. When Lisa Marie died, she had this dispute trying to say that that Lisa Marie's wishes for her kids to inherit everything, she tried to go against them. So remember what he says. Let's listen to it again.
To me, get emotional about it because he was so close to his mother. So the trust factor meant a lot to him, a lot. And to this day, there are things I hold to my heart and I won't give up.
You never badmouth Elvis. I've noticed that about you your entire life.
No.
You've never had, even though you got divorced.
Guys, I have to.
You never.
I have to jump in that. Oh, you never badmouth Elvis. I've noticed that your entire life, guys. Are we on the same planet here? This is planet Earth, Piers Morgan. Planet Earth, Piers Morgan. Half an hour's effort going back over the older interviews for the last 40 years. How can you say such a thing and keep a straight face? It doesn't make any sense.
Mouth Elvis. I've noticed that about you your entire life.
Let me say that again. I have to play it again.
A lot. And to this day, there are things I hold to my heart and I won't give up.
You never badmouth Elvis. I've noticed that about you your entire life.
No.
You've never had, even though you got divorced and everything else, you've been an impeccable support to him, even decades after his death.
Oh my
obviously
God.
matters to you a lot.
A lot.
Unbelievable.
He was a very special human being.
Unbelievable.
And to be put in
Hang
the
on.
position that he was in.
Right. She calls him a... guys, is it just me? She calls him a very special human being. Now, hi, Julius. Now, come on, guys. He's just said you've never badmouthed him, no matter what you've been through. I know you had a divorce your whole life. Now, what she should... oh, my God. Now, what should she have said? She's not going to go, oh, yes, I have. She's not going to say, oh, yes, I did badmouth him. Hundreds of times. Including in my book. Guys, can you believe that? And I'm like, what's she thinking? Priscilla is sat there, probably 79. Is she there? Piers Morgan is kissing her ass, telling her she's like the Kennedys, like royalty. And he's just said to her, you've never badmouthed Elvis. Now, she knows that she has hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. What is going on in her mind? She's like, Piers Morgan. I can't stop laughing. I'm Priscilla. The whole world is watching me. I'm on Sky News. I know that millions are watching this. Piers Morgan, who is highly acclaimed. You love him or you hate him, isn't he? Piers Morgan is like Marmite. You either love him or hate him. One of the most respected... oh, my God. One of the most respected interviewers in the world, every country, has just said to Priscilla, you've never badmouthed Elvis. Piers Morgan. Now, Piers Morgan, if you're watching me now, I could do a better job than you. I could interview Priscilla much better than you've just done. And I will not say to Priscilla, you have never badmouthed Elvis. I won't do it. Shall I get paid the millions that you do? Piers Morgan is paid millions to do these interviews. Has a team of researchers working just for him. And he says that. He says that. What happened? It's just, is he like an alien that has been beamed onto our planet to do an interview with a stranger that he doesn't know?
Days after his death. It obviously matters to you a lot.
A lot. He was a very special human being. And to be put in the position that he was in, never expecting to be as big as he became. You know, he just loved his music. He loved to sing. He loved to entertain people. And that's what he started out until, much to his surprise, he was received so well. And I remember being in Las Vegas, and it was always a packed, I mean, literally, he sold out every night. And you looked in the audience and he'd see it full every single night. And then he'd go later on and start touring, and there would be sold out every night. And he said to me, you know, I see all these people coming to see me and I don't understand why. Am I to do and be something else? Is there a message for me that maybe I should be preaching? Maybe I have a message for people. And he would bring out the Bible at night sometimes and look and read. And not that he compared himself to Jesus in any way. He read the Bible all the time. It was just him thinking, maybe I'm here for another purpose, a message to give. And people, you know, when I have said that very rarely, it's something that it weighed on him.
One of the contentious points of the movie is one of the contentious points about your relationship with Elvis, which is when you met him, you were 14, and he was 24. How do you think the movie deals with that? Some people who've reviewed it say, well, you can see there he's grooming her. Others saying that post Me Too, he would have been cancelled for this kind of thing. What do you feel about it?
Because it was a different time. It was the early 60s. The early 60s.
Now, let me just... Now, do you hear? Now, remember, Piers Morgan is doing damage here as well, guys. Yeah? He's just said, when you met him, you know, you were 14, he was 24. Well, that to me is a knife. It's like, Elvis is a paedophile. The whole world is watching me. Ha ha. Elvis was with a paedophile. Well, we know that Elvis did not sleep with Priscilla till he was till she was nearly 22. We know she didn't move to America till she was nearly 18. She has clearly said, even in the Barbara Walters interview, we did not have sex. We did not have sex. So Piers Morgan is now also doing damage. Yeah? So let's press play.
I compare this to my mother. My father was in the military. My mother would dress up for my father every day. When he came home from work, she was dressed up. And women were that way. We were, you know, not that it was just for our men, but we took care of ourselves, and we wanted to be, when I say we, I include myself. My mother respected my father. And other women wore dresses back in the day. They did not wear pants, slacks, jeans. So that was just the time. It was, I mean, you know, Elvis was like I said, he was very unique, but he was, I don't know about grooming me. I didn't take it at that. I never heard the word. I mean, obviously it's all new now, but you know, he loved to take me to beautiful stores to buy me an outfit. I didn't have any money. He would take me, you know, to the movies every night. That's when you dressed up, and he wanted me to look good and not feel bad that I had jeans, or not jeans, but you know, a little dress that didn't really fit or be suitable for where we were going. So yes, he would buy clothes for me and love to. And look at, when you see what he wore, he would dress up to a T. So he wanted me also to be dressed up.
For people today,
right. Let me just right. So she's jumped from one question to the next. He hasn't even asked the next question. This actually tells me that. Let me just go back a bit. Now, right. So he asks one question, but she does answer it. No, what she says is, he says, you were 14 when you met Elvis. Elvis was 24. She tries to say, look, it was different then. You know, in those days, men in their 20s were dating teenagers, which is true. I don't think as young as 14, but it is in the 50s and 60s and 70s. men in their 20s did want to marry a virgin. They didn't want to end up with a woman that had slept around. So they would marry girls 16, 17, 18, 19. Was very common for a man in his 20s to marry, if in that era, in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I think many of you accept that. I know now in 2024, we wouldn't accept it. We don't want our 16-year-old daughters marrying a 25-year-old man. Okay, I agree. Of course not. But in 1960, 1970, 1960, it was completely normal. Now, not as young as 14, but my point is, he asked that question. She answered the question by saying it was different times. Okay, I accept that answer. But then why does she go on and answer another question that he hasn't asked yet? I repeat. Now, the question is, leading up to, was he a groomer? Was he a controller? Did he tell you how to dress, walk, talk, act, do your hair, do your makeup? That's the question. Was Elvis a groomer? Was he a controller? Now, he hasn't asked the question. Yeah? So why does she answer it? And there can only be one reason. Because she knew the questions coming. They had pre-rehearsed the questions. He had been given the questions to ask in advance. Do any of you agree with this? Elvis had been given the question. No, Piers Morgan had been given the questions in advance to Piers Morgan. Yeah? And Sue, she's like, she knows what's coming and she inadvertently answers it before he asks it. It says a lot, doesn't it, guys? Let's play that section again. Now, this time, when I play this, listen out for how she answers a question that he has not asked yet. So I always feel this with the more recent Priscilla interviews, that it's almost like a parrot. You know, like a parrot, like saying the same things over and over again. Yeah? Oh, Elvis was amazing. I still love him. I miss him. He was so talented. Oh, he committed adultery. It's like, she's repeating the same stuff. Right, let's listen.
Slacks, jeans. So that was just the time. It was, I mean, you know, Elvis was like I said, he was very unique, but he was, I don't know about grooming me. I didn't take it at that. I never heard the word.
Let me go back a little bit.
Yeah, but slacks, you know, not that it was just for a man, but my father was in the military.
Now remember, she just said, I don't know about grooming me. I've never heard that word. I don't know about grooming me. I've never heard that word. Now remember, that is one of the most common words I've ever heard when people are trying to say horrible things about Elvis, that he controlled her and he groomed her. I would say when you get negative people talking about Elvis on my comments, grooming and control and paedophile, these are the main words that are said about Elvis. And she now, Priscilla Presley, who must get millions of messages, comments, is just said, I've never heard of the word groomer. Does anyone believe that even for a second?
My mother would dress up for my father every day when he came home from work. She was dressed up. And women were that way. We were, you know, not that it was just for our men, but we took care of ourselves and we wanted to be, when I say we, I include myself. My mother respected my father. And other women wore dresses back in the day. They did not wear pants, slacks, jeans. So that was just the time. It was, I mean, you know, Elvis was like I said, he was very unique, but he was, I don't know about grooming me. I didn't take it at that. I never heard the word. I mean, obviously it's all new now, but you know, he loved to take me to beautiful stores to buy me an outfit. I didn't have any money. He would take me, you know, to the movies every night. That's when you dressed up, and he wanted me to look good and not feel bad that I had jeans, or not jeans, but you know, a little dress that didn't really fit or be suitable for where we were going. So yes, he would buy clothes for me and love to. And look at when you see what he wore, he would dress up to a T. So he wanted me also to be dressed up.
For people today, with the mindset of today, will look back and say it was inappropriate that he would be with a girl of 14. What do you say to people that think that?
I understand, but I was 14 and...
Oh, that so infuriates me. Right, let me just face this a bit towards me. Now, do I have to keep repeating this? Right, now see what I mean? The interviewers do the damage. Piers Morgan, who says that he is an Elvis fan, his platform is aimed at millions of people, guys. Millions are watching that interview. That interview was promoted for weeks before it aired. And he just said, many will say it's wrong that Elvis was with a 14-year-old. Now, why didn't he say this? You briefly met Elvis for a few months in Germany. You had a friendship. And then 2.5 to 3 years later, because you hadn't seen him, because he went back to his career in 1960. Don't forget, you met him in 1959. 1960, a few months after you met him, Elvis goes back to his career, making movies, doing GI Blues, Frank Sinatra special, making records, RCA Victor. Why doesn't Piers Morgan say, oh, right, you didn't see him till you were nearly 18. You were never with a 14-year-old. You had a brief friendship with him in Germany, but you actually didn't move to Graceland until you were nearly 18. Why doesn't Piers Morgan say that instead of saying, oh, you was with him when you were 14, the public don't like it because they think it's inappropriate? Because as soon as Piers Morgan says you were with Elvis at 14, it's inappropriate, the public won't like it, he's right. Piers Morgan's right. The public, no public, any era, 50s or 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you name it, anything you want, no public is going to accept that Elvis at 24 seeing a 14-year-old is good, is okay. Nobody. But that's not what happened. Elvis had a brief friendship, then didn't see her for 3 years. Eventually, after her harassing him with letters, he gives in and allows her to visit when she's nearly 18. Say that. Piers Morgan, say what happened. It's so unfair, so unfair. Even Piers Morgan, I always say this to you guys, the interviewers do just as much damage as Priscilla.
In Germany, and there was always people around, and our talks were, yes, private, but he never, ever was aggressive, nor did he ever make love to me.
Right, hang on. Whoa. Right, backtrack. Now remember, let's get smart, guys. Piers Morgan has not mentioned one word about Elvis being aggressive. Not a word. Now, this is where Priscilla's trying to be clever and act like we, the public, are stupid. I now understand why she brought up the, Elvis didn't force me how to dress. Elvis didn't, she just said he was never aggressive. She's toying with the public. She knows the whole world is watching this. Yeah? So he hasn't even had to answer the question. Straight away, he wasn't aggressive. Do you know what I think she's doing here? I'm just starting to think it now. Now, the Elvis fans are upset with Priscilla for saying many things about Elvis. One of the things is that they feel that Priscilla accused Elvis of rape. Accused Elvis of being controlling and grooming. She's trying to address all the things, the negative things that she's been accused of, yeah, she's trying to whitewash things. She's trying to go, oh, he wasn't aggressive. Oh, he didn't groom me. I don't even know the word groom. He didn't tell me how to dress. He just tried to show me he had good taste and knew what suited me. So do you see what she's trying to do here? She's trying to undo damage. Do you agree or not, guys? Because she is bringing things up now that are not being questioned. She's just brought up Elvis was not aggressive to me. I think she's trying to win the fans over. Don't forget, she's much older now, much calmer. She's trying to put things right now. She's at a different time in her life. She's not trying to portray Elvis in a sick way. She's trying to undo the damage that she's done. This is what I see. But I still say this. Piers Morgan is the one that's doing the damage now, not Priscilla. Let's keep going.
Earlier, someone he trusted to talk to and pour his heart out.
And famously, you only consummated your relationship on your wedding night.
That's right.
And in fact, that's when Lisa Marie was conceived.
That's right.
That night, and you were 21, I think, when you got married.
Mm-hmm. No one would believe that, but it's the honest to God truth.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I've seen you say it before.
Yeah.
In the movie, again, depending what your mindset is, I think, you could either say, as some people have done, that Elvis comes off as kind of distant, emotionally abusive to a degree, a drug addict. Obviously, people knew that towards the end of his life. It would be quite a negative characterization, but other people have said, in the same light that you just did about it, that it was a different time and that actually he was also coping with the extraordinary pressures of being the biggest superstar in the world.
Yes.
And that brings with it unique challenges.
He had a lot on his shoulders to take care of, to do. He had, films that he hated, all of them actually, except the first two.
Really?
Yes, he was, he felt that he was being a joke, to have this kind of on the beach, girls. And that's all really what Hal Wallace gave him. Colonel Parker signed a 5-year contract with Hal Wallace and never cared about what kind of movies they were. Elvis was frustrated at the fact that he couldn't get roles that he wanted. And Colonel just didn't understand his client at all.
What was he like?
Colonel
Parker, yeah.
Colonel?
Was he like the Tom Hanks portrayal in the movie?
Somewhat, but Colonel, I never had a problem with Colonel. Colonel was different, not being Colonel. We would go to his home in Palm Springs and visit him. Elvis wanted to see Colonel, and they'd talk a little bit business, and I'd be stuck with his wife and didn't know what to say. But there were times when Elvis and him would talk and they'd get along. It's just when Colonel Parker interfered with Elvis's choice of songs, that's when that's part of the movie, and when he's upset because Colonel was, trying to change the music and wanting him to sing a different song or talk to a producer and said he should be doing this. When he got in Elvis's way, that's when Elvis would go all out.
Did you feel Elvis was a controlling influence on you?
Controlling. I don't think it was controlling. I never thought about it being controlling. No, I don't.
Oh, it just makes me laugh. Guys, right. Okay. Every time I get these, when he hits the nail with the head, Now we know, guys, Team Elvis, there's 46 of you watching, guys. Are you understanding this? Please subscribe. Please join in. You're very welcome. You're very welcome to join Team Elvis so we can defend Elvis Presley together. But can I just say this, that he's just said people think Elvis was controlling. She's just said, oh, no, I don't think he was controlling. Now, do any one of you really believe that the way Priscilla has portrayed Elvis in the last 40 years, even in this book, even in this book, that she didn't portray him as controlling? I ask again, do any of you believe for a second, if you've read this book, you'll know that she accused him of being very controlling. She said clearly, he told me how to dress, think, walk, talk, do my hair, do my makeup, what to like. It's all here. It's even in the Barbara Walters. Yeah? And she has just said, oh no, I didn't see him as controlling. I need to find it. Guys, does anyone know what page it's on? Because I want to find it. Let's see if I can see it in the Barbara Walters interview. Right, I'll be ready, guys. I'm just laughing my head off. People say that he was controlling. Oh, no, he wasn't controlling. Right, okay. I have to find it. It's so ridiculous that there's been such a massive change here. It's so clearly obvious that when she comes to this Piers Morgan interview, she's trying to change the wrongs to rights. She's trying to put the wrongs to rights, which is what she said she was going to do when she wrote this book. Yeah? Oh, all the bad books that have been written before, I'm going to show the truth. This is the new truth that I've invented. The new fake fairy tale. Right, let's try and find it. Come on, we need to find it, guys. Let's see if I want it from the. I want the long version because I think it says it in the introduction. Priscilla. It's 1985, isn't it? Let's see what comes up.
You were 14 years old.
Right.
Why? Freezing bedroom. He liked it. Mm-hmm. Was it good to you?
1 second, guys. I'll find it.
You and Elvis took dozens. What are you doing? And he wasn't doing it wonderful. The program anymore. And the last few years he didn't take care. Now you find that your husband doesn't want to go to bed with you.
No, I need the full version so I can get the introduction. How this could be it. Here we go. Right, 1 second. I just want to play the beginning part.
I wasn't living in the real world. I was living in a bubble. And I found that I had my own tastes. I had things that I liked that weren't Elvis's. I found Priscilla. She met Elvis Presley.
Oh, it's a different one.
She was a 14-year-old schoolgirl. He took her into his home.
Oh, let's just listen to it anyway.
The dream woman he had wanted all his life. For 7 years, she slept in his bed without sexual relations. She went to high school all day, partied all night, and relied on pills to help her through it. Bizarre isn't a big enough word for the early life of Priscilla Presley, because that's just the beginning of the story. In a moment, Priscilla Presley.
Okay, it's a different. Right, let's have a look. I want to get to the bit where.
She was invited to meet him, and he liked him done secrets.
Right, I'm trying to find the bit where she says that he told her how to dress.
What do you think? Almost always with an entourage. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah?
All right, it is her.
Yet he never tried to go further than kissing her. Elvis went back to America. He was released from the service. He stayed in Germany.
We need to find it, guys.
You make arrangements. He did it. Yes. And you freezing bedroom. You like to pose your hair.
Here we go.
I always have that fear. Well, if I don't do
Are we ready, guys? This is now. Remember. Oh, he didn't control me. He didn't control me. No.
Priscilla Presley in a moment. Central on Lifetime. You wrote, Elvis controlled your looks, your clothes, your hair, your makeup. He controlled you totally. Is that accurate? Mm-hmm. I was definitely under a spell of of what I thought was love. And I have to take responsibility for that too. And even though he wanted...
Right, we found it, yeah? We found it. Elvis controlled your looks, your hair, your blah, 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 blah. And she went, yep, I was definitely under a spell. Okay, now let's go back to the interview with Piers Morgan. Now remember, I keep saying this to you guys. There was a big change in Priscilla. From, I think, around in the 80s, something changed where she wanted to be seen as the victim. Yeah? Now remember, he has just said that brought up the controlling question, and she says, oh no, he didn't control me. Now I've just shown you that Barbara Walters said he controlled you. She says, yep, he did. I was under a spell.
That's when Elvis would go all out.
Did you feel Elvis was a controlling influence on you?
Controlling. I don't think it was controlling. I never thought about it being controlling. No, I don't. The only thing that I can think of is when he would appear in Vegas. Is when he would say, you can come on the weekends. I had my daughter at the time, Lisa. So I didn't like leaving her. I had a nanny, yes. But he would say, well, then why don't you just come on the weekends or, pick another time, because I was concerned about leaving my daughter. And he didn't really want, not that he didn't love children, he loved children, but he didn't feel Vegas was where you brought children, which is true. I still think that too. I'm not, what I mean is when you're having big shows like he had and kids would start crying or whatever, and just kind of...
Yeah, you don't want to scream the baby in an Elvis show.
Exactly.
You were 16 when you first went to Graceland.
17.
17.
All right, hold up, but listen, let me pause that. So anyway, I've proved my point, haven't I, guys? Yeah? I'm starting to think now that I keep saying this now, she's trying to correct her wrongs in this interview, because every time he says anything, she says, oh, no. So, was he a groomer? No. Was he controlling? No. He's just said to her, you were 16 when you moved to Graceland. We know that she was nearly 18 when she moved to Graceland. She did visit 3 times on holiday when she was 17, but when she actually moved, she was 18. So he has just said to her, you were 16 when you moved to Graceland, and she has just said, no, 17. No, 17. So she's trying to correct the wrongs in this interview. She's trying to put things right with the fans. I think this Piers Morgan interview is an opportunity for her to try and win the fans over and make her undo all the lies, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes, that she has been telling for the last 39 years. So, and especially the lies that were said in this book. She knows the fans have wised up. The fans have wised up. She's trying to set things right. Now, remember that every time he brings up a question and she goes against it, he's just said you were 16 when you moved to Graceland, and she's corrected him. Let's keep going, guys.
I'm not. What I mean is when you're having big shows like he had, and kids would start crying or whatever, and just kind of...
Yeah, you don't want to scream the baby in an Elvis show.
Exactly.
You were 16 when you first went to Graceland.
17.
17. I mean, again, a crazy experience for a young teenage woman to suddenly be propelled from a very normal life into this. Do you remember it vividly, the first few experiences there?
Well, when I first went to Graceland to visit, it was in June of 62, I believe, and no, it was 63. I was in Vegas in 62. Okay, 63. Elvis was there, and he wanted for me to close my eyes when they drove up to the gate, because I had heard about Graceland. He told me all about Graceland, and I would love Graceland. It's so beautiful, and he loved Graceland. That was his home, and that first home he ever bought. So I closed my eyes, and he asked the driver to have the gates open, and you could see the.
But hang on, I just want to rewind that. Did I miss something?
The lights were on. I would love Graceland. It's so beautiful. I was 62. When I first went to Graceland to visit, it was in June. I was 62, I believe, and
that's right.
No, it was 63. I was in Vegas in 62. Okay, 63. Elvis was there, and he wanted for me to close my eyes when they drove up to the gate, because I had heard about Graceland. He told me all about Graceland, and I would love Graceland. It's so beautiful, and he loved Graceland. That was his home, and the first home he ever bought. So I closed my eyes, and he asked the driver to have the gates open, and you could see the beautiful gates, and they'd open up, and the lights were on. It was so beautiful. I more than what I ever expected. But he was so proud of it, and to not just to me, to show people and to take them around the house and the grounds, and it was beautiful. It was a nice moment.
It was a magical place in many ways, and yet what comes through from the movie is that he would go off and make his movies, and while he was away, you were often left for long periods of time on your own in this extraordinary place. But actually life there could be quite dull, mundane, repetitive, lonely. I mean, Sofia Coppola, she made Lost in Translation, and there's a little bit of that vibe that comes through where you think, yeah, okay, you were with Elvis Presley, but life for a lot of the time for you was not wildly exciting at all.
There was a lot of telephone calls.
Right.
He would always call me at 5 o'clock in the evening, and I would wait for that phone call.
Every night.
Yes.
And you'd be there ready.
I'd be there by the phone. Was
it lonely for you or not?
It was a bit lonely. I had no friends. I made friends with his double first cousin, Patsy. I'm still friends with her. She's still with us, thank goodness. But she worked in the office, so I would go out in the office and talk with her. And, of course, the other secretary that was there, and chit-chat until Vernon would come in and tell me that I was, I was kind of intruding on their time and what they're doing and their work. So he put a sign up, which is still there. Only people who work basically are, have to be in the office. So that's not exactly what it says, but very close. So yes, it was lonely. And I went bowling with Patsy, went to the movies, took care of Grandma, talked with her for hours, and watched television.
Doesn't sound particularly showbiz.
No, it's not showbiz. But I would just wait for him to come home, and then life would start. Life started when he came home.
And there's this sort of sense you get in the movie, and you get it whenever you read about Elvis. You would know better than anybody, obviously, that when he walked into a room.
So hang on. So, guys, we're going to have to come back and do another part. But Rebecca just made a good point. She says that Pat's video footage says different. She's given the impression that when Elvis would go away, he would do these movies 2-3 months at a time. I think he would travel there on the bus with the Memphis Mafia and stuff. She's given the impression that when he was away, she was just like in a prison, like everything was horrible, and that she was completely lonely and left isolated and bored. It's not true. She kept herself busy. She had lots of friends and family. Obviously, we have the wives of the Memphis Mafia as well, but not just that. She had complete freedom. She had her own car, a beautiful car, more than one, actually. Let's put things into context. She moved from Germany, a very humble home with her parents, to Gracelands. Now, obviously, there was different houses as well. People do talk about Priscilla as if she lived at Gracelands from the moment they met to the moment Elvis died. But the truth is, yes, she moved to Gracelands when she was nearly 18. I know initially she lived with Vernon and Dee, but eventually Elvis bought other homes, didn't he? Yeah. But my point is, that woman, she moved from a normal, very small home in Germany that was probably rented, yeah, whilst her father carried out his service for the Air Force, to Gracelands, to Disney World, yeah? You get what I'm saying to you guys? So then she talks about Gracelands like it was this horrible prison, yeah? Anyway, I'm going to have to wrap things up. We've been on for 2 hours, but I'm still going to carry on with this. We have to do a part 3 and a 4, I expect. Now, I want to repeat, I'm not doing a Priscilla hate video. This isn't about hating Priscilla. This isn't about making other people hate her. We are here to defend Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. We're trying to show that Elvis has been portrayed by Priscilla and Piers Morgan and Barbara Walters very unfairly. That the truth has been twisted in favor of Priscilla. Priscilla wants to be seen as the victim in this book, in the early interviews after the 80s, because I actually think that Priscilla, before the 80s, was actually quite kind to Elvis. If you look at the very first few interviews that Priscilla's in, she's quite sweet, very likable, doesn't say a bad word about Elvis. But then we get into the 80s, really, after she met Michael Edwards, which is I don't know if that has a bearing on it. Then the interviews become all about making herself out to be a victim. Look, there's a great comment here from Rebecca, how much fun she was having at Graceland and other homes. Yeah, it's all here. Golf carts, horses, vacations, cars. Yeah, she's making a great point, Rebecca, thank you. But my point is, something changed from the late 70s to the early 80s, where she was gunning for Elvis. She was going to get revenge. She was going to have her say. She was going to win over public opinion to make them see her as the victim, Elvis as the predator, the aggressor. Yeah? And she carried that timeline on, that story on, which is a fake story, in my opinion. None of this can be proved. None of it. Not one word of this can be proved. She carries on that story for decades, bearing in mind it's not just her, because we've already proved here that the interviewers are doing just as much damage to Elvis's reputation and image as Priscilla did. The interviewers, I would say in some instances, are worse than Priscilla. They're trying to get their headline news, their headline story, their headline interview to get viewers, to get more fame for themselves as interviewers. For decades, people have been portraying Elvis in a horrible light. Yes, almost revenge. Pat says revenge. I do think it felt like from that interview onwards, from 1985 with Barbara Walters and other people that did similar interviews, it does feel like revenge. It feels that way because so many things. That Barbara Walters interview, you go and watch it, guys. It's on YouTube. Almost every sentence is out to get Elvis. Ha ha, he did this, he did that, he said this, he said that. I was this, I was that. This happened to me, that happened to me. You will find it difficult to find more than 10 seconds in that interview. It's a 1 hour interview. You will find it difficult to find more than 10 seconds in that interview where she says something good about Elvis. Something good. I think there's one question that she once says, oh, was Elvis perverted? And she says, no, he wasn't perverted. That's the only time she speaks well of him. You go through that interview, guys. She is putting him down, belittling him, harming his image, harming his reputation through the whole interview. And it stays like that for years. For years after that, I do think things, once we got into 2000 and onwards, she starts to tone down the interviews. The interviews are more about her enhancing Elvis's legacy, promoting his legacy, enhancing his image and reputation. Maybe, who knows why? Maybe because Elvis Presley Enterprises was bought out by Bob Silliman. Yeah. Maybe it was later on. Maybe it's because Joe Weishanker buys Elvis Presley Enterprises. Who knows? Maybe it's from pressure from Lisa Marie, that Lisa Marie is pressuring her mother to start speaking more fondly of Elvis in a kind of way. Who knows? Who knows? But we are asking, and I will keep saying this to Priscilla, if you watch our programs, Priscilla, I don't hate you. This is not a hate channel. We're not trying to stir hate. I just want you to apologize for the interviews that you did that were very cruel to Elvis, where you were trying to make yourself as the victim, twisting the truth, exaggerating the truth. Of course, we all know that it was massively in this book. This book was very unfair to Elvis. Many truths twisted, exaggerated. Many of the things in this book I dispute, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes of this live stream. So we are demanding an apology from Priscilla Presley, just to at least acknowledge that many of the things that she said about Elvis are incorrect. Many of this is a biggie now, what I'm going to say. Many of the questions that you were asked by interviewers over the last 40 years, you answered incorrectly. Many of the questions that the interviewers asked you, they should not have been asking those questions. They were cruel. They damaged his image and reputation, harmed his legacy. So I ask you, Priscilla, to please apologize for your wrongdoing. I can see that you toned it down later on, decades later. But then you made this massive mistake of allowing the Priscilla film to be released, even though your poor daughter had passed away. The Priscilla film was one of the biggest mistakes you ever made. Really did trash Elvis, really harmed his image, reputation, and legacy, and did a lot of damage to the Baz Luhrmann film, which that you and your daughter proudly supported. Yeah? You know Lisa Marie loved the Baz Luhrmann film. You loved the Baz Luhrmann film. So why harm it and damage it by going ahead with this Priscilla film that you knew your daughter did not want you to make? You carried on after her death promoting that film. This really harmed your reputation with any fans. You lost a lot of fans because you made that film. That film was cruel to Elvis and cruel to Lisa Marie. Lisa Marie would have been absolutely gutted that you made that film, that you went ahead with that film. And I read something this morning that you got 20% of the profits. Is that true, guys? I read that this morning, that Priscilla got 20% of the profits of the Priscilla film. I don't think there were any profits, but I read that. That was part of the agreement. Is it true? I don't know. Is that true? I asked you. So, okay, guys, we're going to have to come back. We're going to have to do another part. I'm going to go walk the dogs, go for a run, make some dinner. I send you all love. I hope you've enjoyed this. 2 hours and 17 minutes, and it's gone like that. Sorry about all the lighting. I know the lighting is crazy in here. It's in my face, but I think we had a good live stream. We've enjoyed our cup of tea and coffee together. It's been very interesting. But what are we trying to do, guys? Defend Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. And to anybody like Joy who came in yesterday and wants to say to me that I'm a hateful person, I'm not. I have goodness in my heart. I want to allow Priscilla to apologize. I think Elvis deserves an apology from Priscilla. I think he deserves that. I also think Priscilla, it's not too late for her to try and make things right, make amends for her wrongdoing. I won't whitewash Elvis. I know Elvis made mistakes. I fully accept that. Yeah? So that's it, guys. Thank you very much. You take care. Have a great day. And we will be back to defend Elvis because Elvis deserves defending. Elvis deserves defending. He can't defend himself. He cannot defend himself. We do that. Team Elvis, we defend Elvis. Elvis fans defend Elvis because nobody else is. I repeat, we defend Elvis, Team Elvis, and myself because who else is defending him? I'm on about outside of YouTube. Outside of YouTube, who else is defending Elvis? Nobody. So we the fans. I am just a fan at home. I am not an expert. I get a lot of my facts wrong. I'm just a fan trying to make a difference. Thanks, guys. I'm going to have to go because the sun's right in my face. Take care, guys. Going to give you all a wave. Love you all.